I promise this video is important, and no, I'm not going to talk about Garfield for 10 minutes. Symbolism is extremely important in movies because it adds layers to a narrative. A blog from Gilliam's Writers Group states that in fiction, cats often serve as symbols of independence and mystery. I would add another adjective to describe cats in general. Afraid. Every time I see a cat walking nearby, the second it sees me, it runs away. Now, it could be that I'm just hideous, or it could be that it's just in their nature to run. So why is this important?
I love you!
In Obsession, written by Curry Barker, the protagonist walks into his home to find that his cat is dead. It had swallowed opioids and overdosed. I guess you could say that curiosity killed the cat? Sorry. Would you believe me if I said the movie gets darker than that? What follows shows Bear, unbeknownst to him, casting a spell on the girl he has a crush on and the horrible repercussions of that decision. The movie concludes with Bear taking his own life to save the girl he loved. Bear turns into a cat. Let me explain. At the start of the movie, Bear is obsessed with his crush, Nikki. He believes that his life would be better if they were together, desiring codependency. His curiosity about the infamous One-Wish Willow lures him into a trap. Suddenly, he has everything he wanted, except it's all a facade. Nikki, as stated by Bear the day after he snaps the One-Wish Willow, is clearly going through something. Despite this, Bear chooses to ignore and run from this escalating problem. Eventually, it is too late, and Bear can no longer run from a problem he unknowingly created, yet complicitly allowed to spiral. His obsession blinded him from the truth. He was afraid of losing what he desired more than anything in the world. Bear is responsible for the events that transpire in Obsession, and his retribution sees him accept his fate and gain independence from his obsession. Bear becomes a cat by the end of the story. Coincidentally enough, Bear dies the same way as his cat. Full circle. Okay, but what about an example that isn't depressing?
I've got to fly back to London. I need you to take care of my cat.
I like cats.
I like dogs.
In Caught Stealing, written by Charlie Huston, Austin Butler is asked by his neighbor to take care of his cat while he is away in Europe. Unfortunately for Mr. Butler, the cat wasn't the only baggage his neighbor left behind, and now Hank must maneuver his way out of a situation that could cost him everything. Caught Stealing is a dark movie, but it graciously has a happy ending with Hank putting an end to all the chaos around him, and the cat makes it out too. So what makes Hank a cat? His first solution to escape the situation is to run away. Not literally, but emotionally. Hank feels he has nothing to lose after losing his chance at playing baseball professionally. Without a purpose, Hank drowns himself in alcohol. His fling, played by Zoe Kravitz, convinces him to start taking his life more seriously, especially after his first encounter with two Russian mobsters who are after his neighbor. Hank ignores this and goes back to the bottle. He is dependent on drinking to maintain his lifestyle, and this comes back to bite him when the mobsters return, believing Hank is hiding something they want. Hank once again chooses to ignore this because he believes he can handle the situation, just like he believed he could handle his drinking problem. The cost, however, is that his failure to subdue the situation results in the death of Zoe Kravitz's character. Hank's lack of action and intuition to run away or ignore his problems cost him greatly. Going forward, Hank continuously runs in fear away from his problems until it's too late. Hank is then given a choice: take what is coming to him or fight back. For the first time in the film, Hank takes control of his life and fights back. He gains independence from his situation and prevents the bad guys from controlling him. Hank wins in the end, acquires the money for himself, and lives free of his addiction and guilt from his past actions. It's thematically important that the neighbor's cat stays with Hank throughout the narrative. Russ is an independent guy taking life into his own hands, despite his fear of the situation. Russ owning a cat is reflective of this. In a way, Russ teaches Hank how to take matters into his own hands. So when Russ dies, Hank now takes on that persona. Instead of simply running away in fear, he stands up for himself despite being afraid. That's why Hank is a cat. I know this sounds ridiculous, and the analysis itself of these two films is hilarious. Both of these movies are great, and I wanted to highlight how an animal was reflected within the protagonists of these narratives. Cats can represent many different things, and these movies showcase the versatility of that animal. Also, I just wanted an opportunity to talk about two movies I'd watched recently that I thought were pretty great. Movies can be thematically rich through all types of metaphors, and these movies just so happen to be strengthened by the inclusion of a cat.